And Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
The motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. Moving now to our board committee reports. Will there be a report out of our education committee?
Yes, Madam President. The Education Committee will meet at 4 p.m. Tuesday, August the 15th via WebEx.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Will there be a report from our operations committee?
None at this time, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Dredden. Will there be a report out of our marketing committee?
No.
Thank you. Will there be a report out of our athletic committee?
No report at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Martin, and thank you, Ms. Moore. Will there be a report out of our DEI, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee?
Not at this time.
Will there be a report out of our Citizens Advisory Committee?
Citizens Advisory had their meeting on Thursday, August 3rd. At this time, no minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. With regards to our policy committee, just very briefly, our policy committee did meet in district on Thursday, July 27th. It was a very brief meeting. We only actually had one item to discuss, and that was policy number 2419, which speaks to the school's red assessment team, and it's a mandated policy. We moved from that to a brief review of the student handbooks for all grade levels. Moving now to the board members, I'm still on page 2. I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report that begins on page 2 and continues through. Yes, we're turning the pages. And continues through to the bottom of page 13. However, board members, before I ask for a motion, I would draw your attention to page 12. Page 12, number 51, where it says linkage dash renewable. In that paragraph, I draw your attention to the very last line, which, as you can see, is an account number. And there is a change. That account number, as it appears, is 20-483-100-600. We want to change that 600 to 300. Just a minor change in that account number. So therefore, with that, I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report as stated.
Motion to approve the superintendent's report that begins on the bottom of page 2, goes through to the bottom of page 13, with the adjustment to number 51, changing the last 3 digits of the account number to 300.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Martin. Hold on for a minute, please. Moved by Ms. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to check something. Okay, moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Dredden.
Yes.
Ms. Esposito.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Ms. Nieves.
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
The motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Board members, now I'm at the top of page 14. I'm asking for a motion to approve the Business Administrator Board Secretary's report that begins at the top of page 14. And as you well know, continues through to the bottom of page 22. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the Business Administrator Board Secretary's report that begins on page 14 and ends on the bottom of page 22.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Dredden.
Yes.
Ms. Esposito.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Nieves.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
The motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Board members, I'm now at the top of page 23. I'm asking for a motion to approve the personnel report as it begins at the top of page 23 and then continues through to the bottom of page 28. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the personnel report that begins on page 23 and goes to the bottom of page 28.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Moore, moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. Would there be further comments or questions?
Yes, Madam President, I have a
Yes, Mr. Thomas.
just in reference to this personnel report and the approval of the new hire, I see there was quite a number of new hires there, and I know it was very challenging to be able to fill this position, not just in our district, but across the board in the state of New Jersey. And I'd just like to publicly thank Mr. Davis for his hard work this summer, for making sure that we get personnel in place so we can further educate our students at the opening of the school year. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Esposito,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Nieves,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Joe Thomas, yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Full. Board members, I'm at the top of page 29, and we're moving to our addendum. You know, that's that big pink sheet that we get. And certainly that we've received this prior to this, at this time, going to move to ask for a motion on our addendum to approve the superintendent's report as it appears on our addendum, number 1. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the superintendent's report at the top of page in our page 1.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Esposito,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Nieves,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Joe Thomas, yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is
Thank you, Ms. Poole. Board members, I'm still on the first page. As you see, we're at the personnel report. I'm asking for a motion to approve the personnel report as it appears the bottom of page 1. And it continues through, this is the long one. It continues through to the bottom of page 6. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the personnel report that begins on the bottom of page 1 and goes through the top of page 6.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Dredden,
Yes.
Ms. Esposito,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Nieves,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Board members, I'm still on page 6. I'm asking at this time to draw your attention to the Business Administrative Board Secretary's report. And I will draw your attention before I ask for a motion to number 7 on page 9. Number 7, across the top heading reads, salary increases for non-represented district employees. And I'm adding as recommended by our superintendent.
If I may,
Yes.
Mrs. Boyle, were we going to, at least until we had an opportunity to enter an executive session, put off A2?
On page 6,
Yes. Or Dr. Cochi?
On the table.
Well, I would like an opportunity to discuss with the board, I think, perhaps before we move on that. If I could be given that opportunity, I think that's what we agreed to today. So I would ask that, we really don't have to table it because we're coming back to it. It's not being formally tabled. We're just gonna come out, pass on that until we come out of executive session.
Okay,
So
so,
it'll be everything except for 2A and B.
so therefore, I'm going to restate that motion. Business Administrative Board Secretary's report. Letter A, number 2, as Mr. Long explained, we are going to pass/table that. So therefore, I'm asking for a motion to approve that report with the exception of number 2, beginning on page 6, continuing through to the bottom of page 10, again with the added language on number 7.
Motion to approve the business administrator's report, including number 1, excluding number 2, and including number 8 and 9 on page 10.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore, the M&Ms. Moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Ms. Straggins?
Yes.
Ms. Esposito?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes,
Motion has carried.
thank you, Ms. Cole. Now, board members still on page 29, our Open Public Records Act, Ms. Boyle.
Yes, Madam President, between the period of July 7th and July 3rd, we received and responded to one OPA request that came in from Smart Procure. They requested purchase order numbers. And I believe it was to the current date, so I believe it was from, not in here, but I believe it was from January 3rd. They wanted the purchase orders, invoices, encumbrances, the checks, the dates, line item details, the description, name and address of the contact person. That record was supplied and submitted to the vendor that requested it.
Thank you, Ms. Boyle. Moving now, board members, informational items. Dr. Potteet, will there be any informational items at this time?
Yes, Madam President, I just have a couple information items. I would like to draw your attention to the 23-24 district goals. It should be in your package. I just wanted to point out a couple things as we discussed on Saturday. If there are any changes or questions that you may have in reference to the information that was provided to us by Ms. Terry Lewis, the first goal just starts off with student achievement, and I wanted to know whether or not the board wanted to include the language that appears on our original goals. For example, 1, student achievement, continue to implement best practices for delivering instruction to students utilizing all available and appropriate instruction modes. This shall include, and then list A, B, C, D, or did you just want to leave student achievement as that topic and those items listed underneath? I just want to make sure, because if the language isn't necessary, then we'll just keep it as is. But I just want to make sure before we move forward and place these goals for approval at our next meeting. Any questions or concerns about that?
I think our intention was to leave that
That language.
in there.
That's what I thought, Mrs. Moore, but I didn't want to move forward with that until I had consensus. We agree?
Consensus? Yeah.
Okay, then I'll make sure that is placed there.
Yes.
Okay. Also, as we discussed at our board meeting retreat, C, under number 1, it says increase in benchmark scores in 4th grade English language arts by the end of the year. And we had talked about using a benchmark assessment, and I had mentioned Lincoln, but I wanted to go back and refer you to our board meeting in July the 12th.
Okay.
You wouldn't have that in front of you, but on July the 12th, we approved a new diagnostic assessment for K-6. And that was approved under Curriculum Associates, and the new assessment is iReady. We had been talking about looking at a different assessment for quite some time, and it was approved in July. So I wanted to make sure you were aware that without me continuously moving forward, bringing you assessment data, without knowing that we are now in the process of implementing a new assessment. This assessment, according to the teachers and our curriculum department, will provide more detailed information to our teachers, more supplemental resources, and it's a better predictor of student performance. So I just wanted to let you know that that assessment, benchmark assessment, will be used for the information that I'll be providing you on a quarterly basis. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. If anybody wanted to change or had any questions, I wanted to address that before moving forward.
Any questions? Clear?
Are the benchmarks of the same timetable as Linkit was?
Yes, nothing, the timelines have not changed. All right?
Yes.
Okay. And with that being said, Madam President, of course, you approved the teacher and service days. I did provide you with the calendar. Those days, of course, you have, and they are shaded green on the calendar that you have in your possession, just so it is highlighted. And I want to thank the board for your support, because we believe that that additional time will give our teachers and administrators an opportunity to do additional planning and preparation for our assessment of the student. Madam President, that concludes my information items for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Copeland. Moving now, board members, to old business. Board members, would there be any old business that we would want to discuss at this time? Hearing none, moving now to new business. Board members, would there be any new business that we would care to discuss at this time? All right, so here would be something, a few items that I think that we need to discuss and be clear on. And it has to do with the upcoming Winslow Township Family Day on August 19th in New Brooklyn Park that we are participating in. And we do know that we are going to have a table. But Ms. Moore, let me ask you this. Would you have any comments on that particular, in that particular area at this time, before I move on?
So I did prepare a sign-up sheet for board members to let me know when you're available. I will send Dr. Cote confirmation email about what we need for next week. And I talked to Dr. Carcamo about the backpacks, so we're pretty set.
Okay, so board members, so we do understand that we are to make sure that we return the information to Ms. Moore with regards to our availability for that day.
Madam President, I have a comment.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Thomas?
I'm sure the board members know, but I just want to make sure that our residents, constituents, and our stakeholders are aware of that our Winslow cheerleaders is making their debut for the 23-24 season that day at the Winslow Day. So if you haven't seen them perform, it's something that you might want to see. And it's our very own children, Winslow cheerleaders. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And again, board members, we do know that the season chairs will be delivered there for us. And as I mentioned, I did mention to Ms. Martin with regards to the Citizens Advisory Committee that they too will have their table, and chairs will be provided for them also.
Thank you.
And so I'm going to ask Dr. Petit with regards to what we are, as a district, again, we're supplying, we're making available backpacks that we will be giving away at our table.
Yes.
And informational. Okay, Ms. Moore, you're shaking your head no.
So the township has asked us to drop off the backpacks in the main area where they're giving them out, because it was a problem last year. The parents were going to that area and getting backpacks. They were coming to us and getting backpacks. And so they want to kind of streamline it so that there's some accountability there.
So what you're saying is that as far as the district is concerned that Dr. Boutique, we would deliver our backpacks to the particular table, that the township, that central location.
If that is what the board has agreed to, I think what they're trying to do is keep people from double dipping, so to speak. where their
Exactly.
Families are getting two bags as opposed to one. So if you put them all in one central location, then they can make sure that more children are being served as a result. So that's what, I will communicate with the township to make sure our people know where the location is, and we'll deliver those backpacks.
Okay,
And
so,
I told Dr. Carpenter that I will find out the location and I will give that information.
anything else, Ms. Moore, from the marketing committee that you would want to share about for that day?
Nope, that's it.
May I ask a question, and maybe Mrs. Moore can help me? The backpacks that are being distributed by the township and maybe other organizations, are they providing any supplies or anything in the backpacks?
All of the backpacks are supposed to have school supplies in them.
Okay,
So yes, yes.
okay. So everybody will be getting the same?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And no, they won't get the same thing.
Same thing,
because
but
it
they will
depends-
get something in addition to the backpack. It
Right.
won't be empty. There will be
Exactly.
something.
Each
Okay.
organization and vendor will be donating at least one, and it's up to them what they put in them.
I just wanted to make sure because we are providing
Yes.
some items in our backpack. and
Right.
I didn't want a child got a backpack from someone else and it's empty, and then ours have something in it. I just wanted to make sure we try to do things equitably,
Right.
so that everybody feel that they're being serviced at the
Well,
same.
yes, that's important, and that's important information,
Okay.
For the sake of clarity. And I would just want to say that with regards to the township, because certainly we have to fill out certain forms. And I was informed that with regards to setting up the table and chairs, that they're expecting that we would be there somewhere between 8 AM and 11 AM. Just wanted to mention that. That doesn't mean that you would have to absolutely be there. For those of us who want to be there when we're sitting at the table, that has to be between 8 AM and 11 AM. Okay? Any other further new business? Hearing none? Moving on. Public comment? Mr. Long?
Certainly, Madam President. The Winslow Township Board of Education highly values the input of citizens in making important decisions that affect children of our community. We believe in the rights of citizens to observe board meetings. To ensure that all our citizens have the opportunity to attend school board meetings and offer comment, and to ensure that the board can conduct the important business of the district, we'd ask the speakers follow the guidelines for making public comment. The board secretary will recognize those individuals in the audience who wish to make comment. Please respect the following procedures. 1, all members of the public attending school board meetings must treat each other and the board with respect. 2, please state your full name and address. 3, please limit your comments to 4 minutes. 4, submit your questions to the Board of Education in the event they cannot be answered this evening with your name, address, and telephone number where you can be contacted. Your questions will be answered within a reasonable time period. And lastly, individuals offering citizen comment are not permitted to make personal attacks on any district employee, board member, other testifier, or member of the public. Thank you.
Board members? Board members, at this time, I'm asking for a motion to open our board meeting up to public comment.
Motion to open up the board meeting to public comments.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Thank you. Ms. Boyle?
Ms. Tara McCauley.
Hi, we're back again. I'm Tara McCauley. I work for the UE, which is the union that represents the paraprofessional workers that are contracted out by Winslow. A bunch of the para workers are here. They're teacher assistants, they're bus aides, they're before and after school staff, and one-on-one assistants. So again, we're on your agenda. We see that you are recommending rejecting the ESS bid, which is the vendor that has employed our members ever since they were privatized. So, I mean, again, we're concerned, you know, all summer our members haven't been able to work. What I understand is that you've been paying teachers and bus drivers to work in the aid jobs at what, more than double the pay you would have paid the aides and the bus aides that were counting on those jobs. So it's been a very stressful summer for our members. And there's been a lot of up and down as they've been waiting to know what happens with their jobs. And frankly, a lot of them have left because they feel like the district doesn't appreciate them and they have no job that they can count on. They have no job security. So, I mean, I'm constantly hearing from folks that are like, well, if the district doesn't appreciate us enough to tell us if we still work there, I mean, granted, I know they're contracted out, but they feel like they work here because they've been in these schools some of them for decades. So, you know, some of them have left. So whatever vendor you choose, it's frankly going to be hard for that vendor to find people in a very short amount of time. And a lot of our members are pretty discouraged right now. So I guess it looks like you're going into a closed session to discuss the contract again. It's just, people just want to know if they have jobs, basically. I mean, we've been here a number of meetings asking for answers. I know the members are always constantly emailing me and asking what we know and we don't know anything to tell them. And I think it's sad, frankly. I mean, they've been working with the Winslow students in the classrooms, like I said, many of them for decades, you know, alongside the Winslow staff. So people are suffering and we hope that we get some clarity tonight. It sounds like we'll wait till after the executive session to find out. But the other thing really quickly I wanted to remind people is since the aides are privatized, they don't get any of the benefits or paid time off that the school district staff get. They don't have a pension. The healthcare is 100% employee paid healthcare. They don't have healthcare, no funding for healthcare from the employer. The only little bit of paid time off we've negotiated is very recent. I think we have like 5 days in our new contract, and that was very exciting for us that we were gonna get 5 paid days off versus school district staff who get a lot of paid, and I'm not beating up the school district staff, I'm just pointing out the differences. Because they should get paid time off. School district staff work hard. I'm just saying that they get a lot of paid holidays, paid vacation. Our members get none of that. When they're off work, they don't get paid. So again, that's part of why, I mean, I don't work for ESS. I don't know how they decide what to bid, but that's part of why they're bidding more is because we're asking them to cover more things for our members so that their jobs can be more sustainable jobs where they can eventually, I mean, we still don't have healthcare negotiated that's actually decent or affordable, but someday we'd like to get there where people can actually, I mean, people are using the state, like Obamacare and Medicaid and things like that because the insurance is not good through ESS. But at any rate, we hope that you'll consider that when you're considering the amount of the bid, because we know that they're at least building in some of that money for things that we're trying to gain for people to have decent jobs. So please do what you can to help the aides in the district because they have been very stressed out this summer. Thank you.
Debbie Murphy.
Good evening. My name is Debbie Murphy, and I live at 4 Devonshire Court. I'm a student at the high school going in my junior year, and I'm also an athlete. And I was wondering what's going to happen with the athletic department. It seems that our fall season is about to start, and we are going into it with no assistant athletic director and no athletic director.
Well, we had an athletic director up until the end of this month. We are in the process of interviewing athletic directors as we speak. We are hoping to be able to make a recommendation at our next school board meeting, which is August 23rd. But I want to assure you that your ability to participate and have all the things that the coaches need in order to make sure your program continue to run will be in place.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, we'll take care.
Stephen Dale.
Good evening. Dr. Stephen Dale, 104 Rose Court, Centerville, New Jersey, 08008. First, I'd like to respond to the comments that were directed at me last month by the Chief School Administrator, sharing that we met and that we disagreed, and we will always continue to disagree. I'll come back to that in a moment. But first, I'd like to thank this board and district officials for putting the curriculum on the district webpage so that taxpayers and community stakeholders can review the curriculum. I would ask this board and district officials to please also consult electronic platforms for your curriculum, such as Rubicon Atlas. As I did share in a private meeting, achieving districts such as Hamilton have Rubicon Atlas on their website, where students, parents, teachers can all access electronic resources to really benefit teaching and learning. Imagine an administrator conducting a meeting with their teachers. All of them have their school-issued devices open, and they're able to click on these digital resources at a touch of a button. Imagine how much that would enhance your professional development seminars for your teachers. Imagine if teachers could even be able to post resources from their classroom onto this digital platform so that we can truly create a community of learners amongst our education staff. That is the direction that I was hoping to see the curriculum be posted for the public so that it could be properly aligned horizontally and vertically. And in terms of any potential disagreements, I'm very concerned about what we're doing to improve horizontal and vertical articulation of the curriculum. Now that we have these PDFs, and now we have the school objectives for student achievement being issued, I'm very much looking forward to the presentation of the school performance achievement data for the 2022-2023 school year. Thank you very much.
Russell Bates.
Good evening. Bates, 114 White Cedar Drive, Centerville, New Jersey. Sorry about my knees, I have a bad knee, so it's getting better. I'm an occupational doing the swimming. I have two comments and one question. There are a number of employees, let's go to Mrs. Boyle, if you don't mind. There are a number of employees that do not have the number of years of teaching on here about their salaries and so forth. I just want to advise if they have a policy or something that we'll look at. I'm a member of the Winslow Township Road Club, as most of you know, so is Joe Thomas. And we had two students this year to go down to Stockton State University. And I'm not going to mention the young lady's name because I do not have the approval to mention that name, which is I think council along goes back. But we had a young lady, they did an essay. And ladies and gentlemen, we found about 300 kids, she been second out of Winslow Township. And that was really good. Fortunately, Joe recommended a couple of students to go through Mr. Handy, who works in the district as well. So he's in charge of the program at Stockton University. So it's good to have somebody on board who you know. You always need somebody who knows something to do something. So we're very happy those two. Hopefully by the next meeting, I'll try to get those names to you, along with their parents, and invite them, but we will also get them to come to the Rotary Club meeting. But summer's a busy time, so we have failed in that. We will do that. We also sent 3 students to Stockton University for 3 nights, 4 days, all paid by the Winslow Township Rotary Club. Who again, Joe Thomas, he did his thing. Don't anybody else. So they enjoyed the experience. And, you know, it's tough to try to get some of these students to come back. We would like to have them come in and tell us their experience because they were there with about 300 other kids from across the state. And it is a vast experience. So those are the comments and appreciate you for listening to me. Do I get the question answered now or later?
Could you clarify
Yeah.
your question, Mr.
On the
Bates?
sheet here, on page 5, I see salary numbers and stuff like that, but I don't see how many years they've been. Yes, I don't see how many years they've been teaching. On some of those sheets, I do see that, and I guess it's here on this, page 5, page 4. It's not important, you know, I like to just know what was getting to me at the teaching.
Well, this is already important. So, if you could see Mr. Bates, I think on page 5, this is just listing, if you look at the top number 10, it says preschool education grant for the 23-24 school year.
Okay.
If you're being charged to a grant, you have to record the name of the people being charged there and the percent of their salary. So that's just following a statute in order for us to be compliant. If they come out and audit and we're charging these people to the grant, we have to have a resolution where the board approved charging those people and the percent of their salary. So that's why that information is captured there. They're not looking so much as in terms of how many years they've been in the district. It's just who's being charged there and what percent of their salary. So that's what that's there for, and it's just fulfilling that requirement. You did name another place?
Not, well, that was one of them, but you have explained diligently what I want to hear. And I had some ideas, I just want to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. Thank you very much.
Madam President, that concludes those that have signed up to speak this evening. I don't know if there's anybody in the waiting room. Texts are shaking their heads.
None at this time.
None at this time? Okay. So therefore, board members, I'm asking for a motion to adjourn our public comment.
Motion to adjourn public comment.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Our public comment portion of our meeting is adjourned. At this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve our moving into executive session.
Motion to approve to go into executive session.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Martin, second by Ms. Moore. Roll call, please.
Pardon me, Madam
I'm sorry.
President, do we have to identify the exception for going into the session?
Yes, Mr. Long?
Yes, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, August 9th, 2023, at approximately 7:45 PM, we will be entering into an executive session on item 6, items regarding safety and public property, and item number 7, which is has to deal with contractual negotiations with respect to the item I had mentioned earlier with regard to the paraprofessional contract. I would anticipate that we would have a short executive session this evening, so I would indicate that we would be in executive session for approximately 30 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Board members hearing the areas that we're going to discuss. So I return, and since we've moved in, I had a second, I'm going to return to now roll call.
Ms. Stratton?
Yes.
Ms. Esposito?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson? Ms. Peterson? And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
We have a quorum. Motion has carried, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. At this point, board members, we're going to move into executive session. And first, we're going to adjourn our public portion.